The markets are in turmoil. Global trade disputes, government debt, and economic shifts are creating unprecedented uncertainty. Yet, gold and silver remain the ultimate safe haven assets, thriving when chaos reigns. Kirk Elliott Precious Metals empowers you to safeguard your future. Call 720-605-3900 or visit kepm.com/B2T to discover how to reposition your portfolio into low-cost, fully liquid gold and silver bullion. Unlike firms pushing overpriced rare coins, KEPM educates you, avoids high commissions, and charges nothing when you liquidate. With governments and banks scrambling, now is your chance to invest in assets that have stood the test of time. Join thousands who trust KEPM to protect their retirement with integrity. Call 720-605-3900 or go to kepm.com/B2T today to seize.
I believe a cabal of secret societies has controlled the world for 200 plus years, and we get to be alive at a time to see it fall. I believe in the power of one person working as a team with other Christian patriots can have massive impact in reversing this ungodly culture. I believe that we have an omniscient, omnipresent, and omnipotent God that has put his hand on this moment in time to deny the timeline of the enemy and is about to heal our land. This is Rick, your host, and I believe that God has called me to empower Christian patriots with truth. Join us now for the Blessed Teach Show, and let's see what God is doing today.
Market volatility soars as trade wars, government debt, and global chaos shake the economy. But for centuries, gold and silver have been trusted safe haven assets. Overpriced coins may lose value. Call Kirk Elliott Precious Metals to invest in low-cost 100% liquid bullion. Kirk educates you, charges no commission when you sell, and helps you seize this historic bull market. Protect your wealth now with KEPM at 720-605-3900 or go to kepm.com. Floods our airwaves, but Faith and Freedom TV fights back with truth. Our bold content, news, shows, Bible teachings, worship, and films shines with biblical conviction and patriotic courage, free from globalist lies. We empower Christian patriot creators to share faith and liberty. Break free from deception 24/7. Explore our program guides for 3 24/7 channels broadcasting truth. Playing now at faithandfreedom.
And Sheila, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. It's been a while since we've been doing this, so.
Yeah, it's beautiful. So you just have so many books and are updating people on so many things, and that's why I decided to kind of say this is an update on the eternal plan, right? Mm-hmm. So because God has an eternal plan that's going to trump even Trump's plan, right? It's going to trump everybody's plan. But love to get to maybe get a little bit of update on the fraud summit that you were at, because I wasn't able to be there. I was at the Reawaken tour. And I didn't know if you had any key takeaways from the Fraud Summit, maybe to start there, if you don't mind.
Well, and the Fraud Summit had a lot of mirror images as to what's happening in America. When I was in the green room, the Prime Minister of Seoul, Korea, and his wife were there, and they just held an election, and they went ahead with the general election, knowing that there were all these problems, and the problem resulted in the communists taking over South Korea. And so that was all happening while we were in Vegas. And at the same time, we watched the Dark Horse movie that was premiered on the 15th. And the Dark Horse is about Bolsonaro in Brazil. They went ahead with their general election, and knowing they had all sorts of problems, and they had tried to take him out, assassinate him, and he won, and so they put him in prison.
Yeah.
And while we were there, his son was up on a case of insurrection by promoting this truth story. And the insurrection decision by the Supreme Court, the day after the filming on the 15th, so on the 16th of June, they convicted him for a 4-year sentence to serve for insurrection in support of his dad winning the election.
Wow.
So I'm really thinking we can't do a general election because I'm going to share something you guys, maybe you already know, but remember when the president said, this is how we handle elections. We handle elections according to our Constitution. And so there won't be any machines, and there won't be any early voting, and there won't be any, anything other than 1-day ballot, 1-day voting. And do you know that not one out of 50 states, all 50 states chose to not follow that order.
Wow.
And so
I
all
know
50
they did
states,
that one for voter rolls in 31 states. I think this wouldn't give the voter rolls to the Trump administration. So this is something different than
no,
that.
this is the election process.
Okay.
If you're going to hold an election, you can't use a machine. You have to do same-day voting. You can't do early voting. You can't do this mail-in ballot voting. You have to do legal election, 1-day voting, count that day, it's over. Because did you know, I believe it's that Tina Peters, she was the only one who sent all of the data into the House of Representatives. That's required. And they took her to state court and sent her to prison for a federal election, and they don't have the authority to even do that. So they're operating so outside of the parameters of the rule of law in America, but they're choosing to do it. So the reason I'm mentioning this is there isn't a single state that had a legal primary election according to the law. So how can you go into a general election when there isn't a single primary in America that was held legally?
Yeah, well,
and operated legally?
But you could almost say that about 2020, 2022, 2018. It's like when are we going to take care of this?
That's the difference. When they did it back then, we could say they didn't know. Okay. Because they're just following orders. Remember the military?
Yeah.
Because the same truth, the same lies are everywhere. So the enemy is with us, and a lot of times we're in the enemy's camp. It's just because there's that many of them. Mm-hmm. And we are needing to realize that all of this has to be dealt with, and all of this has to be cleaned up. Jefferson warned us, you can't just replace an evil and think that you're going to improve anything. It has to completely come back to its original concepts, mm-hmm. and be operated in the proper manner to correct it. And so when he's been giving them all of these notices, here's the difference. So when you're operating against the law, and that's not true of Bolsonaro's son, who was with us in Vegas, mm-hmm. and then was sentenced to 4 years of insurrection. Insurrection is when you're trying to create a different government structure, and a different government structure is changing because the takeover of a nation is an insurrection and seditious act. The takeover of our elections is a takeover of the nation. And internationally, it was happening. Nationally, it was happening. In the counties, it was happening. We saw people put boards up so we couldn't even see them count the vote. Everything has to be transparent in America. And so we've been warning them. So here's the difference. By the time we got to 22 and 24, people may not realize this. That's why the movie about the mules, and that's why our military, our National Guard, were inside the warehouses when the white box trucks came with the extra ballots. And people keep saying, well, nobody's being arrested. You guys, this is military justice. The takeover of a nation is treason.
Right.
And when you're committing insurrection and sedition, and you're warned in the 2018 election, a 20 election, a 22 election, by the time you get to 24, you're committing the same crimes. And in 26, when you're given all of the instructions of how to have a legal election, you're doing the same crimes. Mm-hmm. If you're doing it to this point, what's the difference? Remember when we said treason is the word knowingly. So we've warned them about insurrection. We've warned them about sedition. We've warned them in what they're doing. We've warned them that you can't do this. The president gave them a complete outline. He didn't have to. Gave them a complete outline. This is how you handle an election. It has to be done on the same day. And not one state followed it. Not one. So I really think bigger things are ready to happen. Juan's been saying the next 4 months are going to move from a category 2 to a category 6 or 7 storm. And guys, that's the election time. And there's going to be a lot of people mad because they kept getting away with their crimes.
Yeah.
Now, here's the difference with our military. Remember that military accountability letter at 4 a.m. on 1/1 of 2024? I keep emphasizing the next to the last line. We will fight is in bold until the two-tiered justice system is resolved or is taken care of, whatever the wording is. But we will fight until this two-tiered system, because there's two kingdoms. And the other kingdom doesn't want to operate in truth. And the other kingdom wants to control the elections. So the other kingdom has all these layers of how they want to control the elections. Well, guess what? None of that is in our Constitution. And we're going back because we have peeled off the corporation you've put on our nation. But what people didn't understand, the National Municipality League, all of this is covered in point 35 in the book on the FBI. It wasn't in the Takeover Before You're Self-Governing, because the guy who did all of this to us was Charles Joseph Bonaparte. They brought him in as the Secretary of the Navy, wasn't even part of our country. Then made him the Attorney General, and as Attorney General over the DOJ, what did he do? He set up the Bureau of Investigation. And within 3 years, they put Hoover in as the director at 26 years old. And J. Edgar Hoover, with his lifetime partner, Clyde Tolson, the two of them ran the FBI. And they're life partners as men. Remember when they said Hoover was cross-dressing? He was the female portion of a male relationship with Clyde Tolson, who was the associate director of the FBI for the 48 years.
Wow.
Do you see what I mean?
Was that in the book?
So it's in the book. All of this is in the, I'm not, it's in, a lot of this is in the book series, but Clyde Tolson is in the new book,
Right.
because Father went much deeper with the 45 points, because he wanted a training manual on this. These are the layers they went through to change us and give us these bureaus. None of these bureaus belong in America. They added 405 departments that don't belong in America. And President Trump's working on all of that, but people want him to fix everything. And he can't fix everything, because that's where have I seen you since the First Nations event where I saw the wampum bill?
We did show those pictures. Yeah, you sent those pictures.
Of the original Bible?
Yeah.
Well, that original Bible matches what I've been saying for the past decades.
Yeah.
You have to be tight with the Father.
Right.
He sent you here as a gift to this world, a special gift to this world. You had a purpose and a plan. And a lot of people die without even tapping into what that is, because they aren't in a relationship with truth, who is the Father over all. And so that's been my push, having no idea all of it was going to lead to such powerful days that we're in right now. People keep saying, it's just so wonderful that you knew how to tell us. And I didn't. I didn't. I'm just Sheila. And Father knew I was in a deep ditch, a pit. It was deeper than a ditch. So that's what happened. So getting that deep and him having to pull me out, the stuff he revealed to me was so, so shocking. And nobody wanted to believe me it could be that crazy in America. Oh, Sheila, it's just a wonderful country. And, we just all have such good lives. And we're able to get a different car every 4 years. And everything is just working for us. Well, no, it's not. No, it's not.
And then the scales came off over the last 5 years.
And the scales came off. And the scales came off. We're not reptilians, guys, but the scales came off. And so here we are. And there's such a wonderful thing. President Trump just went, wasn't it on July 3 or 2? He was, no, it was July 1. He went out to the Midwest and he went to North Dakota. And he went to the Badlands for the Rough Riders. And it's really emotional. I don't know if you guys have the video of it, but the Rough Riders rode their horses in amongst the black cars. And they had the same uniforms on, guys, as Teddy Roosevelt had them wearing, with the dark blue shirts and the beige suspenders and the beige pants. And all the horses are always the same color. And everything that Father had shown me, my earthly father, had shown me by taking us to the cabins of the Rough Riders in the Badlands in North Dakota, because we were in Nebraska. Oh my gosh, there it is. You guys, this is so emotional. They rode him in and secured him for the event. And do you see how close the colors are on all of those horses? Now, why do you do that in a group? You do that in a group because it's to say, well, the guy was on a horse that it was a pinto. The guy was if you've ever, because I used to ride Palomino road rodeo. Isn't this amazing? Thank you. Is that Gus coming up with the music?
No, I do all this. I do all this while I'm talking to you.
Okay. It just is so. It was so emotional because, guys, those are the same uniforms they rode when they took over San Juan Hill that helped us get Guantanamo Bay in Cuba. And they transported them on train cars. And that could be them coming in on the train cars. This is so emotional. And then he went to Rushmore the night before with the Native Americans and the wind flutes. And I'm like, oh my gosh. It's just all of the honoring that he's been doing of America. And, I saw the back of Chevrolet trucks constantly because I just came back in the last 24 hours from DC. I went over to Nashville, and then I came from Nashville to Augusta yesterday. So a little bit tired. Quite a drive. And so I'm seeing these Chevrolet trucks, and guys, do you know what these guys, I thought just one or two did it, but I saw a dark blue that I tried to take a picture of and I couldn't do it. But on the CHE of Chevrolet, they have the stars and the dark blue background. And even on the dark blue, you could see it was a darker blue. And then I saw a white one, but I couldn't get my camera ready fast enough because I was driving to take a picture. But the first three letters are the stars. And then the waving flag is the rest of the word Chevrolet on the back of the truck. And it's like, I've seen so much patriotism and so much unity in people. And when on the 4th, it was so horrific because I went to a 5:30 in the morning dedication of a building. They said it was scriptural to do it before sunrise. I want to find that person who found that scripture. But anyway, so we were all there by 5:30 in the morning. And do you know that I received 3.5 pages of closed streets in DC by 4 a.m. because they were going to have a big parade, but then it was so hot they couldn't do the parade. And the people were okay with everything. Do you know what I mean? The people were so glad to be together. And when the lightning strikes were happening in the evening and they had to stop the flyovers, I got to see several from a rooftop right next to the White House. At the rooftop of the Rillard. I was so honored to be up there. And it just was so wonderful to be with the people who were just fighting for this country. And we're all standing together. So there we were then also doing the getting ready for the fireworks and for the speech of the president. It had to keep being pushed back. And they kept telling him, they kept trying to say it was canceled. And President Trump had to come out with a message that it wasn't canceled. And I tried to find the wording. But he did a special message and he said, remember, they did the same thing to us at UFC. Remember when he was doing the UFC in front, they said, you're going to have to cancel. It's going to be horrible weather. And then they didn't get a single drop of rain. Now, DC, while Sheila was there, got plenty of rain and got plenty of lightning strikes and all that kind of thing. So what happened was they kept evacuating the main site. And that's where the National Fair is going on. And do you guys have the picture that I sent, right, of the first day of the fair? Because that's back in June when I sent that. Do you guys have that?
I might be able to find that.
I can send it right now.
Okay.
So anyway, so this fair has been going on. And guys, did you know every state has a booth? Every state, and they're calling them booths, just like the Feast of Booths, Sukkot. I'm not kidding. And they have all this history on every state. So you can walk through and hear all this history and the differences in the states and what they're known for and the products. And it's profound. So I see that Gus is here, but I don't see that he has the picture. So let me email it to Gus.
Yeah, so Gus, I'll have it up on my email too, if you don't mind getting that to me.
Okay.
I'm going through your. It's not on your Twitter, right? On your
The
X.
what is not on the Twitter?
That picture.
The national fair could be. It's back before.
Probably quite a
It's
while
back
ago.
before. Yeah. It was. It's before I went to DC. I drove all night on the 26th to keep everything cold because everything was so hot. Everything was over 100 every day in DC. So I started driving at 11:30 at night and got to the hotel at 9:30 the next morning to keep everything cold.
Right.
And then I was only out there for that dinner. And did I send you guys the picture with Sean Taylor? You know, Sean Taylor, the cop that has all the international fraud interference documents, and so they raided his house and his office.
Wow.
Sean Taylor, Tennessee. Juan's been talking about him for several months.
Was he at the fraud conference? Yeah, here's the one about him saying, "I'm coming back." 422,000.
And I have a video about him too. I can share.
Yeah.
But I'm going to send you both Sean Taylor, and I'm going to send you.
Trump's been pointing to Obama quite a bit lately, hasn't he?
Oh, shoot. And I'm going to send you the Obama picture too. There's a new Obama picture. I got some surprises. You're going to get a Sean Taylor. You're going to get America Fair. And here's what's amazing. They called it a state fair, but he calls it an American state fair. And then you're going to get Obama. And there's a chart, and I think every other year they never went over 20 million. And this time, did they go over 320 million? Was it? Does anybody? But it was that much of an increase. But all the explosions all stood for things. And did you notice how many were all red, all green? Remember Red Castle, Green Castle?
Yeah, that's interesting.
So I haven't done a decode on any of this for any means because all I've been doing is driving through storms.
Yeah, it was like 20,000 munitions last year, and it went 850,000 he used this time.
Oh, wow.
So 20,000 versus 850,000. So it was quite the show. And here's a video you placed that at 12 seconds you'll see lightning. So look at this here. Right there.
And you know what the problem was? The night before, we were in a place called Prophesy.
Sorry about that.
So we were up in Arlington and looking back on DC. And you know, on the entire waterway, there weren't many feet in between all the ships where they were going to be doing the fireworks. The line of fireworks went on for a few miles.
That was crazy.
When you see this, you're just seeing one section of it.
Yeah.
But it went on throughout that whole. This was so much bigger than anyone could have imagined. And when they evacuated, do you know what the people did? The people went into the streets and the hotels to get a little air conditioning and then put on boom boxes and danced in the streets to the country because they weren't going to go home because there's no way to go home. There were no taxis by that time of night.
Right.
And I got an Uber and it took me a long, long time to get back to the hotel. I had to stop the gal to talk to a policeman. And when I talked to him, he said, he put his blue lights on. He said, follow me. And he took us through all sorts of alleyways and everything. He said, now I've got you 2 miles from the hotel. So I don't know if if you're going to be able to get any closer because now that there are people filling the streets, because this was still during the evacuations, when all of it got that bad, I knew I had to get back to the hotel. And so they filled the streets. So what had to happen, it's a requirement in the federal requirement of the city that when the people fill the streets, the cars cannot be on the streets. So then they had to start closing all those streets. Do you see what I mean? So the people didn't realize that they were causing more issues. And then the next morning at the hotel, a woman was checking out. And her 9-year-old daughter in her little pajamas was all set to go, and they were all set to leave the hotel. And she was screaming at the person at the desk that a hotel in DC should have the courtesy to have taxis for the customers that are in the hotel. I would think that this was a classy enough place in DC. And it's like, there were no taxis. They had no ability to do taxis. Those lightning strikes and everything was out on the water. Are you kidding me? Lives were at stake. And so they had to shut it down. And every time they shut it down, the people just walked off of the mall into the hotels and were in cover. And then as soon as it stopped raining and everything. They walked right back out and everything started again. And then the president came out with a major statement and said, just like the UFC, I'm not going to cancel this.
Yeah.
They think I'm going to cancel this. And the president and Melania were right there.
Yeah. It started
They
at
were there
11,
the whole
11 p.m. He started the whole event at 11 p.m. EST. So it was like, wow. And of course, the Nostradamus singer came out to start it all out. That was another part of the code, I'm sure.
Yes, because remember the tribunal started on the 5th.
Mm-hmm.
So everything had a message. Now I'm sending you the Obama thing. I'm sending you one of the flyovers before they canceled it. There was such amazing flyovers. I'm sending you the Sean Taylor. Now what's the other one I owe you? Sean Taylor, Obama, the flyover, and the first day. So you have to have the picture of the first day, because if I haven't shared that with you before, anybody that was at rededication, you're going to see some similarities of what it looks like. But it's so, so huge. After that,
it was interesting that so in the fraud summit, you had Bolsonaro's son there, as well as somebody from South Korea, huh? So the
South Korea prime minister and wife
was Juan's main reason for bringing them in was basically to show, hey guys, if we don't clean up our elections, this is going to happen to us.
It's happening all over the world. Mm-hmm. There's no difference in Bolsonaro. The assassination attempts on him almost took him out. They put a knife in him and he barely survived.
Mm-hmm. And that's what I've been telling people: we don't get our country back until we get rid of the machines and redo our voter rolls, right? And so that's
everything. It has to be cleaned up from the ground up.
Mm-hmm.
We can't go forward in how we've been operating. It's just, it's not going to be possible.
Right. So Gus, I think you're getting a bunch of emails yet. Have you gotten any yet? I haven't seen any coming my way.
I'm sending more pictures.
You're probably putting them all in one big email.
I'm putting them. Yeah, because I had to find this one. Okay, so Gus, I'm praying this goes through. So let me make sure this goes through, because it's got about a bunch of pictures.
Now we've got I can pull up your X account here too, if there's anything you want to share from here, because I know you always keep people pretty darn informed from here, right?
Well, and that's been tough because I've been driving the last 3 days. Have been drive.
Right.
But there's good news, guys, because I got 4 more letters to the president.
You got 4 more letters for what?
To the president. Mm-hmm. About faith and about the pilgrims and about us uniting together in truth, because you can clean up the government and you can clean up the education system, which they're doing. They're completely getting rid of the Department of Education. They're completely correcting and cleaning up the government. If we don't clean up what happened with Constantine putting us into a one world order church government, because Catholic just means universal. And if we don't clean up what Constantine did, and then he died 12 years later, but we're still doing it. The pilgrims knew you can't do this because their children were groomed. Their pastors were burned at the stake. Any believer, Tyndale was burned at the stake. Everybody who helped Tyndale transcribe the Bibles into English were burned at the stake, and just considered martyrs. The separatist church pastor of the pilgrims, when they pulled away from the Church of England, their pastor was burned in front of his 9 children. And the youngest was still at the mother's breast. And that picture, I share this many times in the primer. It's a little 1977 primer. And in this primer, you'll notice that every number has a scripture attached to it. Every letter has a name in the Bible attached to it. Everything is completely spelled out. In this primer in the Bible is how they homeschooled the children. And that's the illustration for the children to know the date. It was on February 14, interesting, in 1554 in Smithfield, where Pastor John Rogers was burned at the stake in front of his wife and 9 children and never made a sound.
And is this primer one of your books?
Nope. This is 1777 out of Boston.
Wow. Okay.
And David Barton has tried to kind of update it, but that gave David Barton, I guess, the rights to it. And now it's no longer available at christianbook.com. So I have some people contacting David Barton because this one is a hardcover, and there is a little soft cover paperback. And the softcover paperback is more expensive than I ever paid for the hardcover, but it's because he keeps doing more printings. And so I've got to find out if he's going to make them available or if he's willing to let somebody take over responsibility of making them available, because they're that profound. I've been sharing these for years. And it's Kirk Cameron did not mention it, but it is with all of his things in Plymouth, Massachusetts. It was sold at the museum, and they were having a hard time selling them. And so I bought their supply when I was there back in 22 and visited with them because they had helped Kirk Cameron when he did the filming at the Faith Monument in Plymouth. And so I bought what they had, and then I started buying it at christianbook.com and just keeping a few in supply just to share as Father prompts. And so now I can't get it at christianbook.com. So that's why I've got to find a way with either David Barton. I don't have an answer from him yet, but I'm trying.
Primer. So, is Barton Barton?
David Barton is Wall Builders.
I gotcha. Looks like I found it.
David Barton is Wall
Amazon.
Builders.
On Amazon,
I'm sorry?
It looks like it might be here. Is that it? The New England primer?
By David Barton.
Yeah, it looks like it's.
Oh, now it's only Kindle. Shoot.
Oh, it's probably only Kindle.
You should have those others.
Yeah.
New England primer hardcover, David Barton.
There's one. Looks like it's there now. $2.05.
That's the design. That's the design of the paperback. The hardback has this ripple in it. That looks a lot like the primer. That just seems like it has a little darker blue binding on it.
Yeah. Interesting.
So anyway, but christianbook.com, people don't understand. Remember when Berean and all of them went into Lifeway and then family Christian bookstores?
Yeah.
Nobody understood. All this was happening between 2008 when so many houses were gone from people's lives and land and businesses. And 2013, by the time I got to Georgia, they were all in bankruptcy and were having their final sales. So who are the 2 guys, because it only took 2 guys to merge all of those bookstores into 2 groups and then bankrupt both of them in the same time frame.
Wow.
So we don't have any Christian bookstores.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody watched it happening.
Yeah, I noticed
that's
that.
why christianbook.com has been a blessing, and now they're not selling it. So, but I'll get a hold of David. Maybe he'll make it available at Christian Book too. So,
any other nuggets out of the fraud summit? Those were huge, though. The whole election fraud thing seemed like that was a big part of it, right? Obviously, that
was a focus. Yep.
And I think with the human trafficking was a focus as well. Obviously, that was the Kazevil movie, right? And so it was that. Did you get a chance to watch
the movie? No, the movie at the fraud summit was Dark Horse, and that was Bolsonaro in Brazil.
Oh,
it was his election and his assassination.
I gotcha.
Him winning and then him being sent to prison.
Okay, interesting.
Because that's what they do.
Right. So
they got to get rid of
a 2-day summit in Las Vegas at the Ahern Hotel, and there's another big one coming up. Right. That is 3.5 days. And
well, this was too. This started on the 15th with the movie. Then it was going to be the 16th. It was going to stop at noon on the 17th, and then he added a dinner and scheduled through the whole day on the 17th. And then he said, "I've got an hour and a half information for you on the 18th."
Wow!
And I couldn't stay for that because I was trying to get to the summit. But then I stopped to get gas in Flagstaff, Arizona, and I was 2 hours in the gas station trying to pull myself together because I had a heat stroke.
Oh my goodness!
And
wow!
So I ended up at a hotel for the next couple of days after that, So I did not get to Tulsa. The goal was to surprise you guys in Tulsa.
That
Clay
would have
knew,
been so
and I was
cool.
great. He doesn't have the new book. Flynn has it in both paperback and hardback, but Clay doesn't have the book yet. So that was going to be the surprise, is to surprise Clay with the book and be at the reunion. But I was in a hotel room and barely able to get up, go to the bathroom, and lay back down.
Oh, no.
The next.
Well, Gus and I were there. We missed you a ton. So
yeah,
we can't wait to see you on the next event. And so could you talk a little bit about that? Do you know anything about that 3.5-day event that's coming up in September?
It's about the storm, and we're heading into it. Juan has revealed himself now. He was on Real America's Voice with Trennis, and then after he did Real America's Voice with Trennis, and then he was on with Jerry Foley, and he said the next 4 months are going to be, you mentioned the category 2, that's going to become a 6 or a 7, and that's election time. If you add up those months, that's election time. So that's what we're heading into. And it's funny because when I was on a Q&A with him, I was having a Q&A because the week before I was on with Jaco, and at the last 10 minutes, he asked me 4 questions. And I said, this isn't fair to the other people, so I'll come back. How about next Friday night? We'll just all get some popcorn and just, you guys ask as many questions as you want. And they all went, great. So that Thursday, I invited Juan to join me. He'd never been on Patriots Across the Pond. Mm-hmm. And I said, now, for this one, Juan, it's a live TV show, and so it cuts in an hour. So we have to kind of keep it within an hour. Well, 3.5
that's hard for Juan.
Well, 3.5 hours later, the people were still asking questions, and he called me afterwards and he said, that was so fun. Are you doing another one? And I said, yeah, that was on Thursday. I said, tomorrow night, Friday, I'm doing one on Jaco, because we were only able to get 4 questions done last week in the last 10 minutes of the show. So I'm going to do a Q&A tomorrow night. And so I go on to do camera and mic, and Juan's already on. And Juan had missed the last 2 shows because of his schedule and hadn't been able to come on. And I thought, well, this is really strange. And Jaco said, well, Juan's gonna be on with us tonight. And I said, does he know we're gonna do like a fast fire and do Q&A, for the hour? And he goes, yeah, I told him. So it was a 2-hour show instead of a 1-hour show. And guess how many questions we answered?
How many?
4.
So you got to drain them. You got to drain the whole story with Juan, right?
Yeah. But now I'm going to give you guys a real pivot point that I think we've talked about but kind of forgotten. Oh, this was so profound, guys. When they had the 3 flying over, and all of this was videoed and everything. The flyovers were like every 10 minutes. Mm-hmm. And then with the new Navy F-35C, my God, that plane, they gave it a 20-minute demonstration. And guys, what it can do. That's the one that will come. They were practicing the 2 days before. So I had the Thunderbirds practicing flying right toward my hotel room and then flipping up over the top of the hotel. Can you imagine? And people were complaining. And I was just like, just go do something else. Go to the Spy Museum, the Smithsonian, go do something else. Because it was so profound. I mean, I left all the curtains open, and I didn't get pictures. People because you're just so mesmerized. Mm-hmm. Okay. So then after they did that, then the next day it was all the individual planes. Mm-hmm. Well, this F-35C that was given 20 minutes, everybody else was given 4, 8, and 10 minutes. Okay. Mm-hmm. And we had a chart as this is Navy, this is Air Force, this is Marines, we had all the charts. And so you could follow along as to who's flying. And they were announcing it too, but we were like, okay, guys, get out there. It's the Blue Angels. So we all go running out there. So, and that's from the roof of the building. It was so profound. We were right there with them. It just was amazing. And so the F-35C is something that can fly towards you, and you think it's just a regular plane. And then it will put its front up and stay stationary. Then it'll fly completely straight up, and you won't even be able to see it anymore. And then it'll swing back down and fly sideways. I don't know how this guy did this, but he did 20 minutes. And I looked at the chart, and it's like, oh my God, this guy gets 20 minutes for this demonstration, because that's how much this plane can do. And it was flat out amazing. I mean, I never got a single picture of him because they're so far away. I had to so expand just to get that picture. And I was able to do it because they flew slower.
Yeah.
because and there were so many people on the outside deck on the roof.
Right.
And how profound. And then I had one meeting in a building that had a lobby, and this is a July 6th edition of people. July 6th, guys. And July 6th, and this was on like July 1 or 2,
right,
when I was there.
The early release of the magazine, huh?
At the time of the 250, really.
Interesting.
It just was really
Trump's been highlighting Obama a lot lately.
Well, because that's a key to a lot of it.
Right.
We can come back to Obama. This is a Sean Taylor that is so spectacular. And guys, his bio is just flat out amazing. Just flat out amazing. It's not on my desk yet because I got in after 11 last night and I brought in the brush and the hairbrush, toothbrush, all the brushes. That was about it. And so I still haven't unloaded the car, but I don't know what happened. It just went back to.
Oh, I didn't know if you wanted to stay on Obama. You said something about that, so I didn't know if you're.
This is Sean Taylor. That's the cop. He's either the chief or the assistant chief in Tennessee, and God gave everything to him. He's got all the international connections and documentation of the election fraud. And so that's how he met Juan. And then he's been on interviews since, but he did a short little video. And if you guys haven't shared that before, I'll make sure that's good. This is the first picture I've seen since doing all the ketones and the protein and to get through the inflammation still from the Linwood targeting. And it turned out pretty good. And it was Warren Armour. You guys know him from PPN, Patriot Party News. And he was standing there. This was the dinner the first night of the last 7 nights of the 7x7 with the president. And so Sean Taylor was seeking me out the whole night, and he came by, and Warren Armour pulled up his phone to do this. And you can see, I'm seeing him do the picture, and he's trying to act like he's doing nothing. He's just holding his phone up, but I knew what he was doing. And I think he did a whole video. Okay. So when I said, I know what you're doing, and the fine won't be much if you share it. And he just kept laughing, but he's able to do that face like a 5, 6, 7-year-old that has the hand in the candy jar, the cookie jar, and they can't get it out in time before you find out they're there. Yeah. So that's the face I got from him. And this amazing. This was from James Grenvig. Remember the 3 eclipses we talked about? Did you see the world soccer symbol?
Wow.
For the tournament is the same symbol.
That's interesting.
Isn't that amazing? Yeah. So that was happening. The Rough Riders were happening. I've been just having a joyous time, and people have been writing and saying everything that Sheila's saying is being promoted over the world. And it wasn't planned. It wasn't planned. And then when the president went with the Rough Riders, here's the America State Fair. Is that not a gorgeous display?
Yeah.
And that's exactly where it was for the rededication. Anyone that was at the mall for the rededication, that's that whole section that we saw with everybody on the stage and then the 2 side panels. It's exactly the same. And then behind us, because right back by the street are all of these tent tops that are like little booths, and that's where all the state booths are. It's profound, and it's so well organized, and the families are just loving it. And you know what's interesting at the Smithsonian? You know how the Smithsonian had their history the way they wrote it? You know, have you guys ever been to the Smithsonian and it's all the story of them?
Yeah.
Do you know what the Smithsonian looks like now? I didn't go in, but other people went in, and guess what? Entire areas are blank with big posters about the 250. So their stuff that wasn't the right history appears to have been put somewhere else right now.
Interesting.
So isn't that fascinating? Yeah, I just found that out because I didn't get anywhere. The Spy Museum is exactly across from the front door of the hotel, and I never got there. I stayed at the same hotel for rededication because by the time you do all the meetings and everything else, you just get in your car and you go. So So I haven't done any sightseeing. I haven't been to the monuments. I haven't been to the Jefferson. I haven't been to the Lincoln. None of them. So.
Mm-hmm. It sounds like a great trip, though, that you had there. So I'm so sorry that you got sick and we didn't get to see you in Tulsa, but at least you made it to the 250th. That is beautiful.
Well, and I was only back 2 days because that's the way it happened. That's why I couldn't do anything with you guys until now. Is that it delayed everything, and so I didn't get back at the right time. Because I was in bed longer than the reunion, and so so I only had a couple of days to just get to the dry cleaners and get some things cleaned because DC is just a different environment. We had a couple of special nights. That dinner was a special night. And so that had to be dry. All these things had to be dry cleaned because everything has been, guys, it's been so hot. It has been so hot. It's just hard to, it's hard figuring out the clothing structure because it's so hot. And then when you're in the buildings, it's so cold. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so exactly. My wife has to have a jacket with her wherever she goes because they freeze you out in Texas. Every building's freezing.
Do they? Oh, wow. Oh, wow.
95 degrees and you have to have a jacket.
When I turned around and took the picture of the people behind me when we were having the meeting downstairs after the dedication up on the roof before sunrise, where it was so hot, you could tell everybody dressed for that kind of heat. And so when I came back down and turned around and took that picture because I recognized some of the people are the chairs of the states of America First. There's 10 people that are chairing 10 states. We got California done. If your state is not done, just send me a note and say if you want to help get your state organized, because we're going to get them all organized by 28 because we only have 10 done now, but we have everything together to organize all 50 states. And when all 50 states are organized, then we have direct communication from federal out to each of the states to get it done, to get it taken care of. And so like the executive orders, 90% are done by America First team. The laws the same way, because we're not going to use lobbyists to write laws for their puppet masters and have Congress sign them when they don't even read them. Everything has to change. Everything has to change. So these state offices are going to be critical because remember when the president gave the power back to us? Yes. The states are the key. It's never been federal. They flipped the switch on us like they're in control of everything. And now people are wanting President Trump to clean everything up because they think he's in control of everything, and he's not. He's reduced gas prices, but the states are adding on all these taxes and everything. So the states have to clean up. And the only way to help the people in the states is to have a state office where it's absolutely working with all the laws, all the executive orders, and getting them done. So like school choice has been in since, I think, 2018.
Right.
School choice has to be approved in your state, and the structure has to be set up. And so if it doesn't get to the state and the structure doesn't get set up, guess what? So parents are still paying all the money for homeschooling, and homeschooling is charging them and not setting it up through school choice. Mm-hmm. So people can you can send your children to Christian education, but guess what? The textbooks are the same as the public schools, mm-hmm. and you're paying all this extra money. When I was in Georgia back in 2013, they were paying $145 a month for a pre-K, and the one who was in kindergarten, when he went into first grade, had to pay $750 a month. How do parents afford $1,000 a month with the mom helping take care of all of this and not working? So they're forcing both parents to work. All of this has to change. Everybody goes, when all this money comes back to us, nobody's going to want to go and work. We didn't have both parents working. It's all about the children. And it's all been shifted to not be about the children. It's
Right.
all about wearing out mom and dad and paying for this and paying for that. And then all the prices keep going up and everybody's excited about the equity in their home. They didn't realize that tax office is going to be reassessing whether you've improved the property or not. And you're going to pay taxes as though you've got this multi-million-dollar home that you bought for $150,000 and paid it off before you retired. You know what I mean? So
But now the property
all of
taxes
these,
are more than your payment was originally.
yes. And we're not watching this. We have
Right.
seniors who've retired who paid their homes off 10 and 20 years before they retired because they're living in the same home and they wanted to keep all their expenses down. Their property taxes are more than they ever paid for their home because of the new valuations, because the pendulum never swung back. None of this is normal. None of this is right. But we haven't watched all of this, and that's what President Trump is doing. I was battling something just in the last 48 hours because while I was on the road, is because I found out, the bill that he was going to do that corporations can't go on MLS and buy all these properties in really nice communities and then just make them rentals.
Right.
And so Trump stopped all of that. But guess what? Did you know there's a build to rent corporation structure and they've already bought their land? And the people involved in the law for this are on the board of build to rent and didn't disclose it. So I've been on phone calls. I just found that out on the night of the 4th while we're watching the fireworks. And so as soon as we got to Monday, the 6th, I just started getting on phone calls. I started texting, emailing. Because if you've got people on the build to rent, then they don't care that they can't do it out in your community anymore because they've got land to go build new places and you aren't going to be able to buy a home at a reasonable rate because they're going to build to rent, and all of those communities, all you can do is rent. You can't buy that new home.
Mm-hmm. So they're fighting.
So
they're trying to go around
against what
Trump's plan.
Trying to do what?
They're trying to go around Trump's plan, basically.
Yeah, and nobody knew. Nobody knew because they didn't announce it. So I said, well, look up this name. When they looked up the name, they found out she's been an investor in it and is on the board and has a title in build to rent. I mean, this is the kind of stuff. But people say, well, how did you find this out? And I said, well, because God sent someone over to me to sit by me at a table on 4th of July, and that person knew. And because that person knew, they said, I just have to share this with you. This is bothering me so much. And President Trump hasn't signed it yet, but he only has 10 days because if he doesn't sign it, it becomes law anyway. I go, oh, isn't that interesting? Mm-hmm. So I was just enjoying what she was saying, taking mental notes. I never write down notes when I meet with people. I just take mental notes and then give it to the Father. And then the Father said, contact this person, this person, this person, contact this person who's on this with the president. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's what I mean about getting tight with the Father, guys, is that every one of us, we're all in this battle. And if you're tight with the Father, it doesn't matter if that category goes up to 10, 12, 15, who cares? Because you're tight with the Father and he's going to be telling you what to do each day. And that's why for 35 years, my motto has been, we got to get tight with the Father before the storm.
Amen. And it comes back to my life verse too, about Philippians 4, 6, and 7 is do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, not some situations, but every situation, present your request to God with thanksgiving, right? And that's when you get the peace that transcends all understanding. So it's a beautiful thing. And I think that's a great point that you made in the last time here is that God has a specific calling for each of us, right? And it's different. And so we can read the Bible and get great insight and hear from the Lord. It's an active and living word, right? But there's also a rhema word, right? Hearing directly from him. That's different from the logos word, that written word. So the only way you're going to hear that is my sheep hear my voice, is to get really close to him. I'm actually doing a series right now. I'm on day 2 of day 7 on hearing from God. And I've interviewed Amanda Grace and Nathan French and so many others. And it's a beautiful time to understand how they get close to God. And Sheila, I should probably interview you for a book I'm writing called Blessed to Hear. I'd love to give your insight on that as well, because it's about getting so close to him that you know his voice, even during, you don't even have to be in your quiet time, right? If you're yoked, he can interrupt you at any time. Right. And so you talk a little bit about that, about being yoked, and the fact that It's not something that you have to be in a quiet time necessarily. It can be a 24-hour type thing. Would you mind talking a little bit about that?
It's being with him. Truth is who he is. And the breath of life is what he gives us. So truth and life is all from the Father. Why do you suppose they're giving all of us these respiratory issues to battle and deal with? Because they don't want us to have the breath of life. That's what took out the other 5 speakers that were targeted. They worked on it until they couldn't get their breath. On the 12th day, none of us could get our breath.
Wow.
And that's why they all went to the hospital, because they got scared. And if your breath isn't up, they right away put you on a ventilator. But I want to make sure people know there's one more thing about that build to rent.
Right. Okay. I'm sorry. I changed the topic. Go ahead.
I've got them. Because when you are an investor in it and you're on the board of it, you can't be the person writing it and promoting it. They're in big trouble. So they might think it's going to get passed, and they might think they can build on land and do what they want to do. But the non-disclosure, crime by omission. So they're not going to get away with this. I'm not going to stop until I get this stopped. So because the president wants everybody to be able to get a home.
Yes.
And new homes for families is what he wants. Not new homes for renters. We're not building for renters in this country. We're building for owners. And the Constitution says if you want to represent, you have to own a business or own land. And look how many representatives don't own anything.
They own stocks.
If you don't have a stake,
right.
If you don't have a stake in this country, why are you thinking you want to represent this country? If you don't have a stake in your community, because that's what they did with us with identity theft. I was a homeowner and a business owner. Those are the 2 people they attacked. They knew exactly where in the county records to get your social security number off your business license and go down to the property and look up your name. And that's all they have to do is put in the name of the owner of the business. And then they got you, and there's your social security number on your business license. Took a long time to get those removed from the record.
That's why they wipe out.
Now they wipe out the criminals against us.
They wipe out tons of small businesses and their cycles, right? When they do quantitative tightening, like in 1929, they wiped out all the small businesses. They wiped out tons of them in 2008. So it's a whole by design to not allow us to own our own businesses or property, right?
Deception floods our airwaves, but Faith and Freedom TV fights back with truth. Our bold content, news, shows, Bible teachings, worship, and films shines with biblical conviction and patriotic courage, free from globalist lies. We empower Christian patriot creators to share faith and liberty. Break free from deception 24/7. Explore our program guides for 3 24/7 channels broadcasting truth, playing now at faithandfreedom.live.
And only a few corporations controlling all business.
Right.
That's what the whole thing is. Because they'll make a deal with you that you can't refuse. It's just like what he took care of in Iran is the same thing in business, same thing in education, same thing in the church. People have to lie to live. So the people that are being killed outright that don't even have a way to defend themselves in Iran are because they will not state that they are Muslim and believe the Muslim faith. And so they shoot them and kill them. Nothing has changed from ancient times to now. And Takai, we talked about that. And somebody knows how to pronounce it. Somebody told me, I don't know how to pronounce it, but it's a Taqiiya, I think. And it's the Islamic deception. That same deception is the pagan Gentile worship. That same deception, same dead gods that they worship and dead entities that they honor and idolize as the secret societies. All of this is in the information I've just sent to the president and where it is in the books. And I sent the books with it today. I overnighted it today. I gave all the information while I was in DC, and then I said I would overnight it with a copy of everything when I get back to Augustus. So today that went out, and that term Taqiiya is called Islamic deception, that they're going to be agreeable with you, but they're lying to you because they're never going to agree with you and they're never going to do what they say. But we've been the same way. That's what that Native American prayer confirms, is the power to forgive. Because the power to forgive is that you went against us with every agreement, every treaty, then you cursed us by doing these things to us, and you've done all of these atrocities to us. But we want you to know that we release you, forgive you. We do not hold on to any of those curses, even the ones that our ancestors spoke against you. I mean, when you go back and look at that, Takaya is what somebody's just put in there. Thank you, Dee. And so when you think about what it is that they've been through, it's the same thing they put us through. They didn't just get rid of houses and land and farms from us in 2008. And that was the buildup already of giving all these advantages to the illegals, so the illegals could pay for and stay in the homes that we can't afford to be in, that we paid the whole price of. Do you see what I mean? So everything that they've done has been from ancient times, doing the same horrific things with different layers to it. And that's why I keep saying, don't pray that this is over quickly. Thank the Father that his hand's going to remain upon us until this is done, because this has not been dealt with. This has never been dealt with. After the ark, Nimrod went to the sun and came back as a sun god, and he was deified as Osiris, which is all of these obelisks stand for. And his mother had his baby after he died, and then tried to say it was an immaculate conception. And she was deified as Ishtar, Easter, and Isis. And they said that Osiris and Isis were brother and sister. That's not true. It's son and mother. So all of the stuff that Shakespeare wrote about is true. And Shakespeare making male parts for females to be in and female parts for males to represent, all of this goes back for centuries. None of this is new. Mm-hmm. All of this is being dealt with. But it's not going to get cleared up if we keep operating the same way, doing the same things, operating in the same structure, because that's why the Pilgrims banned pagan Gentile worship for 500 years. And they made it almost to the Civil War in 1838. I forget the state, but it was a central state in America that brought Christmas back. And that was the only state that did that. And then after the Civil War, then it was Ulysses S. Grant that signed the law in 1870 for Christmas, 1873 for Ishtar Easter. If you do it for 500 years, there's no way that it can keep coming back because you've had enough time to get everybody in a relationship with the Father so that they do not depart from it when they're old. And that's what the Pilgrims knew they had to do because their children were groomed. Mm-hmm.
That's interesting. That's an interesting perspective of saying don't hope that this is over fast, because the process is what's cleaning it up, right? It's getting closer. People are seeing the evil and they know that and turning to God in a bigger way right now. I've seen that in a big way in the last 8 years since I've had this program. Many people coming to the Lord. That's why God turned this into a ministry, right? We're going to be doing praise and prayer right here shortly after we're done with this here, because we know that this is a spiritual battle. Have you guys
had a cough since the reunion?
What?
We've all had a cough since the Fraud Summit.
Ah, darn it!
And it's intense. And I've got cough drops, but of course they're not in the office because they're still in the bags. But
if you need to go grab something real quick, you can do that. We can.
But well, it's time. It looks like it's time for you to go to your next show. Don't you have a show that starts at 7?
We started at 6:25, so we usually take it, but we can wrap it up if you'd like, so you can get to your cough drops. But
well, we can continue if you want me to do that.
I'd like to go another 10 minutes or so on some key questions.
There are pictures to Gus that he can bring up, I think.
Yeah, well, I wanted to talk to you about. Well, one thing I wanted to get to is this upcoming summit. Just a little bit more, if you have any insights on who might be there,
No,
okay,
no,
okay.
there's this storm. The price is going up. I guess I saw something where June 30th, it was going to be the last day for 500.
Mm-hmm.
Then it was 600. I guess toward the time frame of it, it's going to be 700.
Okay.
That's all I've seen.
Right.
And it's going to be about the storm, but we're already in the storm. And so it's going to be heading into that.
Right.
So
I know you.
Oh, good. You're on my Twitter. So if you scroll up just a little bit, yeah, we're already in the 5th column. This is just amazing how things are moving so quickly. So
I'm here.
And I don't know, did people know that about the Sussman case right below where you are now?
Right.
Remember Durham on Sussman? Durham did a case on Sussman, and everyone wanted Sussman arrested.
Right.
It wasn't about arresting Sussman, just like it's not about arresting Maduro. You bring Maduro here because what? Our government has paid these cartels and these gangs to do all this to us and bring all these drugs here.
Right.
And so that's why the president brought all the Mexican cartels. Then they sent another 29 cartel leaders to him. Do you see what I mean? And the reason why he did that is because they were all under the control of our Congress. How does that make you feel? So anyway, the Durham case on Sussman, it proved that the Russian hoax was fake. It was created out of thin air.
Right.
It was done at Georgia Tech, Atlanta, Georgia. This is why I'm in Georgia. Banks 1, 2, and 3 in Russia are not even real. The lead tech, supervising tech 1, 2, 3. It's all made up. None of it has any basis in fact. And that's what the impeachments were about. That's what all those court cases against him were about. They were trying to put our president in prison. So it's more than just taking over an election to control a country. And that's what they've been doing. Because I just had a conversation with Jerome Corsi. I autographed a book to him while I was in DC, and he went on Bannon after we had our conversation because he said, "You didn't think the story about the Schurz is really true?" I said, "True. I've got all their genealogy. It's all in documentation with Idaho Observer newspaper over in Idaho." He's like, "What?" And I said, the pictures of the family. The fact that Bush 41, Bush was never their name, but Bush 41 president was in the Navy in Germany when he was 16 years old. So Jerome Corsi went on Bannon and was discussing all of these things. And then after that, somebody pulled up an interview of him, and he described everything of bringing the president in back in 2015. They wanted to do a coup on Obama, and it's President Trump that stopped it. Because once you do a coup, it's over. You go into a civil war and you won't get your republic back. You do an insurrection, that's not going to work. And so that's why the people that think they're going to do an insurrection or operate in sedition and they're going to be okay, you're not going to be okay. That's why I keep warning you. Don't keep trying to form a government structure in America. The government structure is already here. Our flag confirms it's to the republic for which it stands. And that republic is what our forefathers set up, but it was taken over 2 years after George Washington was inaugurated. So we're going to have tough times getting this all straightened out, but we're not the people that are going to get that straightened out. And the reason why they're saying the military is the only way, it's not because we're all going to be locked in our houses and it's going to be like police control effort by martial law. That is not what the direction is in this. The direction in this is that the military is the only way. And that go back to when Kavanaugh was going in for Supreme Court. And why do you suppose, and I'm sorry, they used Lindsey Graham, whatever, to question Kavanaugh. And they questioned him on civil law, criminal law, military law. Why do you suppose the only guy out of the entire Congress in 2015, when they checked out, vetted all of them, the only one that was clean was Jeff Sessions? Why do you suppose he comes back once in a while with his suntan? That man, we've already proven it how many times, he is in the category and ability to be a military judge. And so that's what he's been doing. And things are getting done. But you look at social media, we still have people that are in danger of their entire family being wiped out. the things they're saying, the things they're communicating, the things they're operating in. Because when you get involved in insurrection and sedition, it's a slippery slope. And the people that did the crimes back in 2020, they committed them in 2016, but didn't get away with them, guys. So 2020 wasn't the first fraudulent election. 2018 was fraudulent too. 22 was fraudulent too. How many times have we reminded them? But this is what our president said when he held up the Bible. Remember when all the rioting was happening in DC and he held up the Bible and he said, this is our rule of law? We don't understand how powerful that is, because that's our Constitution, and our state constitutions are that. And they haven't ratified the state constitutions on purpose. You have to have 66% of the people voting for that. But if you're in somebody's living room or dining room and you're sitting at a table and you're taking on a title of a county position, a city position, a state position, whatever, stop. It takes 66% of your state to agree on it, that there's going to be a different government structure. You can't start doing this because there's people doing it all over, saying, I've re-inhabited this state, I've re-inhabited this county, I'm the interim governor of this state. And they're saying all these things, and guys, stop, because those are crimes of insurrection and sedition, and those are major prison terms. But if you keep doing it, once you're notified that you're doing it, the difference is you're now doing it knowingly, and that puts you into treason. So I'm warning again, and I've warned out on X, and I've warned out on Truth, and I've warned out because I found this out. These were people that were trying to do this with me back in the early 2000s. And I thought, well, this sounds really good. Let's get together. Let's get everybody together. Let's get this done. If we can get this republic back. And they said a senator told him how to do it. The senator didn't show up at the court hearing. The guy that told us how to do it went to prison for several years. He just got out. Now he's re-inhabiting states again. And he wants me to help him. Guys, I've learned a lot. Can a citizen be tried in a military court?
Yeah.
Citizens.
Yeah, I think I think he's just talking about the Kavanaugh thing. Lindsey Graham Kavanaugh discussion.
Be tried in military court. Tribunals are military.
Yes.
And military is the only way, because these crimes are high crimes.
Mm-hmm.
This whole election thing, it's not just about having another election. It's not just about having things, organized a different way. Guys, taking over a nation through an election by putting the wrong people in who you can control. That's high crimes. Treason. And high crimes are the gallows. Mm-hmm. So let me come back to the pivot point I was going to go into, but then we mentioned another question to go back to, because I got to do another interview in a few minutes. So here we are, and we're facing all of these things. But way back, if you think way back, did you know that Q is the 17th letter of the alphabet?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
17th book in the Bible is Esther. Mm-hmm. It's not just about Q. It's not just about what Q is saying. Everything turns in a night. Sodom and Gomorrah in a night. After 100 plus years building the ark, it departed in a night. The decisions happen in a night. And in the night, when Esther met with the king, the Jews were praying and fasting because they were all going to be killed in a night. Haman had already set up the gallows. He had everything all set. And Father drew the interest of the king to Esther, and Esther got the ear of the king. And everything changed in a night. That, my fellow patriots and believers, is the boomerang. You don't know when it's going to happen. Nobody can tell you what is going to happen. Father put his name on as a signature with those 3 eclipses. I've already shared all of that. He gave us the Nineveh lesson. Don't be doing pagan and Gentile worship, because that's the other kingdom. And he can easily say, I never knew you. And that's why I'm saying get tight with the Father, get your families tight with the Father, because souls are at stake. And people are like, well, Sheila can't save souls. And I got it again this week. Sheila said she saved souls. I have never said that. Mm-hmm. I've never said I brought anybody back from the dead. A lot of ministry people say that. No human has the ability to bring a person back from death. All of that is God's decision. Wigglesworth's wife asked him to stop praying for her to come back because God was listening to his prayers and bringing her back. She said after, I forget how many times, 8, 9, 10 times he brought her back. She said, don't ever bring me back again. She knew. And so I don't save souls, but I'm trying to help you save your own soul, because everybody has a personal choice. And everybody can try and be righteous and say, I'm doing this and da, 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 da. And none of it's going to matter if you don't have a relationship with the Father. And that's why the pagan Gentile church never taught you to have it. When they do the prayers, they've reduced it down to, in Jesus' name, amen. And I say this all the time, and people go, Sheila's against Jesus. I've never been against Jesus. The power's in the Christ. Ha-Mashiach in Hebrew, and sometimes it's a capital H, capital M, just like Kofefe. There's a power in it. There's a power in the word, and there's a power in the definition of what it is. The Christ is a savior, redeemer, but here's what people forget. And it was in scripture, and this is why those high leaders in the pagan Gentile structure of the high leader, you can say you're Jewish. I told a Jewish guy again this weekend, I said, you can say you're Jewish. I can say I'm Lutheran. It doesn't matter at all. He said, what do you mean? And I said, are you a member of the body with the only living Lord? Mm-hmm. Because Father, Son, and Holy Spirit are one. The lie against us was done by Constantine. He split it into 3, and the Hebrew scholars will tell you this. The word is Echad, E-C-H-A-D. Go ahead and look it up. It's a Hebrew word. And in that Hebrew word, that's what Christ was saying while he was on earth. If you've seen me, you've seen the Father. If you've seen the Father, you've seen me. The Father was with us. And they split it. Why? Because in the other kingdom, the religions, the Shiva, the Brahma, the Vishnu, it's 3 in 1. The Brahma is actually 3 men standing back to back. How ridiculous is that? 3 in 1 is to follow through and take us over to the other kingdom. Everything about Gentile pagan religions takes you to the other kingdom. And that's what you're doing on the Venerable Day of the Sun. And people are putting 10 commandments back in the courtrooms, back in the house, in the schoolhouses. What does it matter? What family is honoring the Sabbath and keeping it holy? You tell me. And then they say it's a Jewish thing. It never was a Jewish thing. The feasts and festivals are in the Bible, Leviticus 23. It wasn't a Jewish feast.
I call them biblical feasts, not Jewish feasts.
They're biblical. The Lord's feast.
Right.
23. And so we never learned any of these things. And so that's why I've spent so much time getting the information out on them, because I didn't know it either. And when I wanted to have Bill Morford, the Hebrew scholar who just kept wanting to spend time talking to me, he just found it fascinating. And I thought he should write the book about the feasts and festivals. And he said it wouldn't make any difference. I said, why? And he said, because they would take that since I was raised Jewish that I don't understand. You see, you've been raised in the lie. You've been taught the lies. So you can now explain the lies to the people. But I'll do the forward for you. And that's what he did.
And which book was that? Which one was that?
Call to Believers, a clarion call to righteousness. Right. He had done a righteousness and holiness companion to the New Testament. He wrote the One New Bible from the Hebrew transcripts. And so, powerful man of God. And when he was telling me all of these things, because I was so emotional about it, because I said, well, I'm beat up all the time. And he said, why? And I said, well, there's this guy, Jonathan Cahn, who they think is a Hebrew rabbi, and God said he's not. And he said, well, tell me what he's saying. And I said, well, he said that Sheila Holm is saying that Christmas is, that Christ was born at Feast of Tabernacles, and that can't be true because the lambs are out in the field on March 20th. He was born on March 20th. Number one, he wasn't born on a Gregorian calendar date. And number two, March 20th heads into the solstice. So that wouldn't have been a date. And Father told me that he's sending the tabernacle with the people. And so he was born on Feast of Tabernacles. And then God said, and then I set up the Festival of Lights. And when did I set that up? And I said, well, that's probably Hanukkah. And he said, well, tell me how many days between Feast of Tabernacles and Hanukkah. And I said, God, I don't even know the dates of these feasts and festivals. I've never learned to study them. And he said, Sheila, it's all on your computer. So I looked up the date that year. This is back in 2020. And when I looked it up, I looked up the date of the Feast of Tabernacles, and I looked up the date of Hanukkah. And I said, okay. I said, now just give me a moment, because I got to take out my calendar and count the days. He goes, Sheila, your computer will tell you. I said, it does that? I never knew. So you put in, there's a date calculator. So you put in the date of Hanukkah, and you subtract from the date of Feast of Tabernacles, and it's exactly 70 days. I said, 7 times 10. That's pretty funny, God. 70 days. That's pretty funny. He goes, why do you suppose I said 70 days? And I said, what do you mean? And he said, why 70 days? And I said, I don't know. And he said, I just told you I sent him to tabernacle with the people, and people means nations. Nations means people in Hebrew. And I said, so there were 70 nations? He said, yes, there were only 70 nations at the time. So I used that to set the date for Hanukkah. And so people keep saying, well, as many problems as you're finding, Sheila, with the Gregorian calendar, there's probably problems with the Hebrew calendar too. And so I told God, and he said, Sheila, then why would I have sent Moses on Adar 7 and gone to meet with him on Adar 7 and walked with him, and he was no more on Adar 7? Why would I do things exact? Why would I send the 10 commandments to Moses? Why would I give them to him on Sivan 6? And then exactly on Sivan 6, after Christ resurrected, why would I use Sivan 6 to send the Holy Spirit? Everything I do is exact. Passover is Nisan 14. Christ was on the cross on Nisan 14. And the 3 days, because he was in the tomb for 3 days, is Nisan 17. So everything with Father is exact. But we haven't known these things because we didn't know this truth. And Bill Morford said the most precious thing to me. He said, Sheila, if Jonathan Cahn was a Hebrew rabbi, he would know that there are 9 sets of Hebraic lambs born every year in Israel. He's not a Hebrew rabbi. Mm-hmm. They used a rabbi's name to put the Noahide laws over us, saying it was our founding document, and it was the founding of a moral and civil society. The 7 Noahide laws that don't include honoring mom and dad, don't include only having one God and not having other idols, and don't include honoring the Sabbath and keep it holy. That's the 7 Babylonian Talmud laws. Rabbi just means teacher. And when Father revealed all that to me, I get angry about the laws. Mm-hmm. And he said, the lies are the lies, and you're operating in truth. And I have to reveal the lies to you. And so, because they're not out there, you aren't going to find these from anybody else. Kat Kerr, pink hair, Florida. I don't know anything else about her. She started speaking against me because of Christmas. And she said, when I go to the heaven, because she goes to heaven all the time with the Father, she always has answers straight from heaven, straight from the Lord. And so she goes to heaven, and he takes her to Christmas Town and said the Christmas music is his favorite music, and it plays all year in heaven, and he just loves it. Blasphemy. Christmas is the high holy satanic days of the whole year. The most people are killed, the most people are poisoned, the most people are destroyed, tortured. It's all done from December 24 to January 6. And the prayer of the 4 Advent candles is to resurrect Horus, the son of the other god. He was Tammuz, and he's the god Horus that you see. That's the cockatrice bird, and with the all-seeing eye. That's the son of Noah's great-grandson, Nimrod, and his mother Semiramis, who were deified as humans to become Osiris and Ishtar, Easter, Isis in Egypt. All of this is human decisions, human structures, human words, and none of this has anything to do with us. And the top oath in the secret societies is the top religion of the other kingdom, Ahura Mazda. Be careful if you buy a Mazda car. But anyway, Ahura Mazda is also the cockatrice with the straight out wings and the crown on his head. He's a male bird and he lays eggs and then he hatches serpents. And it's in the amplified version where if your children put their hand in the adder's den, that's where the cockatrice resides. And that's the only time I've seen it. But
so what book do you detail out the Gregorian calendar problems, etc.? Sunday, Monday being is there one that you would recommend? I know there's several when you talk about it, but
do you know when he gave it to me was when he made me do a personal letter. I said, this book is already 400 pages. And he said, you're going to do a personal letter. And I said, I always do personal notes just between us because I want to kind of do a review with everybody when at the end of the book. I do it at every book. Every book has a personal notes just between us. And he said, no, this is going to be different. It's going to be a personal letter up front. And you're going to do Aleph and you're going to do Ehad. I called it Ishad. And again, there I'm wrong. It's just like the challah bread for Sabbath. It starts with a CH. So I call it challah bread and it's challah bread. But Ehad is the 3-in-1 or the 3-in-1. And so there's like 10 pages of Aleph. There's like 80 pages of Ehad because that's where he went into the Gregorian calendar, the Hebrew calendar, the differences and the blessings of the months of the Hebrew calendar and the things that we honor with him and what that does for our lives. It just was so powerful. And that's in the Ehad portion in the personal letter in the front of the book. And then I said, oh my goodness, now it's like 99 pages before I even get to the introduction. And he said, now you have to add Kofefe. Mm-hmm. And I go, we're going to add Kofefe. And then I think I already told you guys, I said, I can't add Kofefe unless I have Sean Spicer's approval to put that quote in. And that was in October of 24 when I was discussing that. And that's before the president started sharing Panama Canal. He started sharing Panama Canal publicly with everybody in December of 24. He was on Tucker's interview in August 23 of 23 when we were at Reawaken it was the night before the meet and greet. It was a Wednesday night when we were in Trump Hotel for the Reawaken in Vegas. And God had me watching that Tucker Carlson interview. And he quoted all my scripture that I just had in July of 23. And I gave it to the military team. And then I just had one question. I said, God has told me all of this. And with all of this being true, I'm really wondering who's got control of that canal. So the president, for 5 minutes in the middle of it, Tucker's first interview ever, they aired it. They pre-recorded it. They aired it the night of the presidential debate, which Trump loved. And so he's doing the interview with Tucker. And Tucker's so frustrated because right in the middle, he goes, back in 1903, and the president just started talking about it. And he quoted my research as though I was standing as a producer on the side stage and just handed the page to him. He quoted it just straight down the line. Everything that I was saying, with this being true and this being true and this being true. My question is, who's got control of that canal? I couldn't find anywhere where anyone had the position of controlling that canal. And he said, after he quoted everything, he goes, you're probably wondering who's got control of that canal. Well, it's China, but I know Xi, so all I'm going to have to do is make a phone call and get the control back. So how funny is it now we come to this 250th, and he goes out on July 1 and goes to the Rough Riders and goes to that library or museum or whatever it is for Teddy Roosevelt, because there is a park. There's a Teddy Roosevelt park. I haven't been back since they did the park. Anyway, and so the president's standing there with AI and talking to Teddy Roosevelt. And Teddy Roosevelt's talking about what the Rough Riders did and everything, and the president's asking him about the Panama Canal. And it's so emotional. I can hardly even express. But if you go to the personal letter, because now that personal letter with Kofefe, and then God introduced me to Sean Spicer, they put me at a table separate from the people that I went to Mar-a-Lago with for the America First Gala in 24. And that was at the end of November. And then December is when the president started revealing everything. But in that, I was sitting at a different table, and a guy keeps moving cards around because his best friend, he wants to be able to talk to him without speaking in front of his wife or his fiance. And he wondered if he could move name cards around, place cards around at the table. And I said, fine, because I already knew all of these people, but I don't know any of these people. And the guy who ended up hit my left elbow as he sat down was Sean Spicer. What are the chances? And I looked at the place card and it was Sean Spicer. So I told him, and we just connected when I went to the rededication. He had a book signing for his book. And then I said, I still want to get my book to you. And he said, go on my website. I went out on Twitter and I said, well, Sean Spicer was there and I got his book and I was promoting his book out on Twitter.
Every day,
Oops.
Yep. Oh, sorry. This is so cool. Go ahead.
No, that's okay. I turned the sound off. I was just playing it in the background.
No, it's so cool. No, go ahead.
Okay. It's pretty short.
President faces storms most people never see.
Talks about the storm.
Keep your nerve and remember the nation comes first. You get through. I know you know that feeling yourself.
Well, I appreciate those words. Those words are fantastic. And I just want to say it's an honor to be with you today. We are making a little bit of a tour, some of the fantastic things you've done.
So that was just a little piece of it, but that's kind of what you were talking about. So.
Yeah, and he asked him about the Panama Canal, and there was a response. How amazing is it that they can ask these questions, and it's just amazing. Mm-hmm. So.
Yes, I know.
But anyway, so Sean Spicer came right back on social media and said, Sheila, just go to my website. My email and my address is right there. So I shipped a copy of the book to him, and he responded about everything. Jerome Corsi is just blown away because he didn't know what happened with the Panama Canal, but he heard somebody did something and it happened. And I said, well, this is somebody that did something and found something, and that's how it happened. And so we discussed it a bit, and then he also wanted to talk about some of the other things. But you're the only person, Rick, that's ever brought up about those calendars, because we have to change the calendar. Because if I tell you I'm going to meet you on August, on Sunday the 18th, whatever the date would be, the day of the week and the month of the year are both gods and goddesses. So I'm naming 2 dead gods and goddesses from the other kingdom before we even get together. And we've just got to stop.
Yes. Well, thank you for taking the time to getting us all into that and pointing to the book. So the book that we're talking about is the latest book that has the 45 points, right? So you can get that on Amazon, or you can go to what's been down below the whole time is hisbest.org. That's hisbest.org. Do you have time for a quick prayer, Sheila?
Well, and I have time for a quick note. Did you know our good friend who often you only see the boots, but now you get to see his face?
Yeah.
On interviews. When everybody saw me on Nino with him, I didn't know he had the camera on me. He came to my house and picked me up, and we went to dinner. The reason we went to dinner is because I was asking all the questions about the calendar. And he said, well, I just don't know. And so we had this whole discussion, hardly ate at all, but had this whole discussion about the calendars and everything else. And so I gave a numbering system that we can do that eliminates the names. And
should we just go to the Hebrew? Should we just go to the Hebrew calendar, or you're just talking about in the short term?
Okay, there's a problem because the Aztecs created this calendar timing 365 and a quarter days,
right?
And it matches with the Farmer's Almanac, and it matches with how you do sowing and harvesting, and so it matches things that we can't just ignore, and so. But I've got a way. I came up with a numbering system way, and I'm just waiting for an answer.
And so we basically say, hey, we're going to meet the second day of the week at 4:00, right? Is that this
because
month?
that's what it is.
Next month. So we stop saying the months and we start saying the days, right? That's going to be part of the trick.
Well, think about it. If you're getting together on December 25, you're getting together on 12/25. Mm-hmm. And then the only thing you're missing is what day of the week. Mm-hmm. So that can be a number 2 because they're all 1 through 7. Right. Do you see what I mean? Mm-hmm. So it's easy. So I've come up with this easy way, and it was so funny because there's a lot of resistance in the genius category people in the country that are trying to work on this with me. Just pray for me. So I'm in discussions with them about all of this stuff because They thought it had to stay the way that is. And what we need to do is just put the feasts and festivals so they work. And I'm like, you can't do that, because it's just like May 22, when they honored the Native Americans, they knew it was Savan 6. They were expecting miracles of that gathering, and there were. Do you see what I mean? They were expecting Father to enter in like he did giving the 10 Commandments and giving the Holy Spirit. They expected it. Do you see what I mean?
Right.
So they knew the dates, and that's why they scheduled it, et cetera, et cetera. So those dates are so key. And it's just like, then what they did was Ishtar Easter on May 24.
Mm-hmm.
That wasn't even it. And in God's, here's in your face, other kingdom, this year, April 1 was Passover.
Mm-hmm.
April 4 was Resurrection, which was Sabbath. Okay. April 1, they created it April Fool's Day, because April 1 is about when the Passover resurrection, Passover and Christ on the cross happens on the Hebrew calendar. So they called us April Fools. Nobody really knew that. Did you guys know that? April Fool's Day is because we're April Fools, because we believe he rose. And you see what I mean?
Yeah.
So we believe that.
Yeah, they're mocking the cross, right?
Yeah, so they're mocking all believers. They want us dead. And it was funny after our friend said, when I met him, he said, well, at least the church is fine. I said, sir, there's nothing about the church that's fine. And he said, well, tell me more. And then even that summer, when they were having conventions of the churches, he said, can we go and can we find out are they using machines? I said, sir, they don't even use ballots. It's like, what do you mean? I said, if you want to go, you have to agree to say yay and not nay to everything they want you to do. And there's no documentation of any of it. It's all by voice, and you don't know how many are saying anything. Because they can't say nay and attend, or the church won't pay for you to be a representative to go to those conventions. Because the church is controlled way above.
Yeah, it's a target.
You'd be shocked to know where
it's a target of the cabal, right? Because they know that's a
well, and look at what's getting revealed.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just Daystar. Look what got revealed when in TBN when Paul Crouch was sick and then dying, and his lover, his chauffeur, his driver of his limos was his partner, and his mansion faces one side of the street of a block. His mansion and her mansion in California, in Henderson, Tennessee, in all these different TBN locations in Texas, they had matching mansions, but hers faced the street on one side of the block and his faced the street on the other side. They lived separate lives the whole time, and nobody really knew. And the money in those mansions, in the private jets, in the because I met a pilot. Somebody wanted me to buy a house in Texas. Who was selling it? The pilot for Paul and Janet Crouch. And he picked me up at the airport, showed me his house, wanted me to buy it, and then found out I'm paying for my own hotel room and saw me counting out dollars and coins. I forgot about taxes on a hotel room. They gave me the rate, but they didn't give me with the taxes. And I just had that cash money. I didn't have any access to cards or anything else and God was flying me into TBN like once a month for months. And TBN is just 45 minutes I could have gone to north of my house. Do you see what I mean? But God wanted me to meet the producer in Texas because she needed a healing prayer. And so, do you see what I mean? It's just, but this is my life. And to meet that pilot and have him witness all this and tell me all of these things that he was aware of. And he said, they do all of this and they make you pay to fly in and they make you pay to come on. And I said, well, it's even funnier because you know how they tell people that they're bringing really good people on and the more money you give them and the more money you give them, they help in all these other countries. I was sent from Australia up to Tonga. While I was on the flight, the king's brother, the prince, died. And so when I got there, all of the people are making food and making gifts and everything and giving them all to the royal family. That's just what you do. And TBN was supposedly doing live stream or videotaping or whatever for the world. And it was just everybody marching in the street, giving all these gifts to the castle, right? And so I'm watching all this stuff, and they said, well, none of the people are going to have money, so we don't want to schedule meetings because we don't want to schedule meetings and not give you some money. And so we're just not going to schedule any meetings this week while you're here. And I'm like, oh, isn't that interesting? And I said, why? And they said, because TBN is very expensive. I said, TBN is very expensive. So when I came home and they had wanted, they found out from the king that I was there. And so they got a hold of me, and I went up and met with Rick Henke, the VP for Paul Crouch. And I met with him 4 times before he said, we've got it figured out. We're going to do a halftime show, and we'd like to start doing it weekly, but we want to go to daily. I said, okay. And he said, what we're going to do is we're putting the value on that at $26,000 a show. I looked at him and I said, you don't have to pay me. I said, I just live 45 minutes away. I said, it's not much expenses. I'll just come and do it because everybody's loving me on Praise the Lord. So I'll just come and do it. So he said, no, we don't pay anybody. You would be paying us $26,000 a week. I said, you think I have $26,000 a week to pay you to do a show?
That's the way that
So,
works. It's like
but the public has never known
for a half hour for Daystar, $30,000 a month, right?
And now look at, they've got 7 mansions that were in their names, and she transferred everything into her trust before she died. And she had a new one with him, Doug Wise. And
then such a funny story, Sheila.
There's a 30-year relationship of them using their jets to meet each other in the same places. And yet the one they scandalized was Marcus for having a relationship with someone, whether it was a night or 2 nights or whatever it was. They scandalized him on TV. He apologized, blah, blah, blah. And this has been going on this whole time. And Marcus never knew, and Doug Wise's wife never knew, but they didn't involve Doug Wise's wife in any of this. The divorce of Doug Wise was handled privately, and his wife was never involved in anything. And then they immediately got married, and then Joni Lamb used her Daystar credit card to pay over $100,000 for just the amenities and everything at the resort.
Wow.
That they were at in Mexico. So,
wow.
Do you know what I mean? But all of this is coming out.
If you don't mind, Sheila, I'd like to just, this is where God has intertwined a lot of us, right? And He's asked me to start a Christian media network, right? Which I've been doing over the last year and a half. And one thing we do is we charge $0 for people to come on the program, right? And I'm not sure how God's going to make this all work, but I'm just. But I just wanted to show you, that we have a Faith and Freedom TV where we have thousands of videos here, 3 24/7 live channels, including the Health Freedom channel and the Growing Your Faith channel. And
you never lied about it.
Yeah, you
never said that you were providing all. You never said that you were providing all this to all these nations for free. We want to set up an office in Russia. Can you guys help us pay for that? They never paid for anything.
Yeah.
They never paid for the offices over there. Everybody has to pay them.
Exactly. That's one thing.
That's why God took me all over the world on His time. He said, let me show you where the money went, where the people said they were helping this nation, and they never got any help. It's all been lies to collect money. And that's what I noticed. And it's the same thing in everything. You give a good reason to give money, and you can get believing people to give you money.
Yeah. So the whole model is where the tithing's going to just air to the networks, right? I was shocked. $7,000 for a show, half-hour show, which is about $30,000 a month to get on Daystar, right? And so who goes on Daystar? The only people that can afford it are the ones that are getting massive tithing. So it's the prosperity preachers, right? That really are the ones that end up going on TBN and going on Daystar.
Yeah, but you know where all of it starts? They get positioned. There's a club, a cabal above all of this. And I've talked a little bit about it. They invited me to be part of the 3 people commissioning apostles back in July of '99. And now they have a website, International Coalition of Apostles, now has an L, International Coalition of Apostolic Leaders. And they said they went to Singapore in September, and it was demanded of them to start this. Complete lie. In July, they were asking me to be the 3rd person to apostle megachurch pastors. And that's what really hurt when I was at the First Nations gathering. Do you know what they've done? And I know the guy that did it, and he stared me down every single day that I was there, and never said a word to me, never came over and talked to me, but I've known him for years. And he's a big shot with all the big guys in the body that are on the 32 that are tasked with quality control. Who do they think they are? But it's anyway. So that's what happened. And that guy has now involved pastors in the reservations to become apostles. So they were introduced as pastor, apostle, pastor. And then the intercessor that came out on the last day in the public event was called apostle intercessor. Because did you know the prayer coordinators in the States are now apostles? And then you keep getting better titles. So like you're only a vertical apostle, even as a mega church with over 20,000 people, to just have your church as an apostle. So you have to go out and bring other churches in under you to become a horizontal apostle. And they they fight for these titles. I'm not kidding you. It's worse than a joke. But the Charisma Magazine guys are all apostles, entrepreneurial apostles, marketing apostles. The people on Elijah Stream are all apostles. Elijah Stream is confirmed with me. They're not a ministry, they're a business, because they were trying to get people to do gold and silver when the Obamacare came out. And on the back of one of the pages is FDR saying that if you have more than $600 worth of gold, we'll confiscate it and you will owe us a fine of $10,000. They were going to do that to Christians. I'm not kidding you. And so when I got a hold of Steve Schultz, we've known each other since he was just an email process long before. And so when I got a hold of him, he said, I said, your director said that he's not in ministry. He's not a pastor, and that this is not a ministry. So it's not a Christian thing. It's just a business. I said, if it's just a business, you need to start telling the people who are giving you money as a ministry that you're just a business and you're not a ministry. But I could tell you I've lived all of it. I know who these people are. I've been with them in the green room. I've seen them practicing on mirrors on how to go out and get money. I can give you examples, and some of you probably spent money trying to do the computers to do prayers globally so we could stay on top of things for people globally. I saw all of the donations for all of that. There was $350, then $450. It still wasn't enough. Then they did $650. And all that money went with those three men in charge that day. And not one computer was ever purchased and not one was ever set up to do prayers globally for the World Prayer Center in Colorado.
Wow.
I've lived it. I've been with them. I've seen it. And that's why when they kept saying, you can't get your books out there unless you're on platform with us, because they had control over who could get the books published.
Yeah. And how they can be advertised on all the airwaves, right? The cable. Yeah.
But I didn't want to be on platform with them. And when I refused to be on platform with them, they did everything they could to blackball me. And it's like, God just kept me traveling the world and seeing everything Father wanted me to see. And I just noticed I'm 44 minutes late for
oh my goodness
being on another channel. So, but I love you guys. This is always powerful.
Thank you so much. Let me just do a turbo prayer real quick.
So much.
I'll do you a real turbo
Rick.
prayer. Heavenly Father, just thank you so much for Sheila. Just bless her. Bless the next broadcast she goes on. Lord, thank you so much for her insight. Lord, we just pray that you'll continue to give her just beautiful insight. And that most of us, I pray for all of us, that we will get closer to you and the specific directions you have for each of us. Each of us will come very clearly to us as we get closer to the Father. We say these things in the mighty name of Jesus. Amen. Thank you so much. God.
Bless you, Rick. Bless you, Rick.
All right. Guys.
Bless you, Gus, too. You're out there somewhere.
Yeah. So
bless you. Here I
am. Bless you.
All right. You're awesome, Sheila. We appreciate it. If everybody wouldn't mind unmuting and saying thank you to Sheila, we really would appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Sheila. God
bless.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sheila. Always a blessing. May God bless you.
Bless you muchly.
Bless you and thank you.
All right.
Thank you for sharing the truth everywhere you can.
All right, guys. So this is a beautiful time. I just want to make sure I just come back to this screen here. I'm just going to show you. This is go to hisbest.org. That's hisbest.org is where you want to find Sheila's stuff. You can also obviously go to Amazon, find her books. She's got tons of books, by the way. We didn't get a chance to cover a lot of that, but her latest one is what I was showing on the screen earlier. Let me see if I can find that real quick. It's got this is the 45 points I was I was showing up here several times, but you can get it here on her website as well. I think the store here has the books as well. But internal plan always trumps a human plan, right? And hundreds of other books, well, maybe not hundreds, but getting close. She's just got tons of other books that you can find on hisbest.org, or go to Amazon, just search. She's got a whole author site there. I know she's got to run, but it's beautiful time. We have just a few more minutes left, and I know we're not gonna have time for praise and prayer because I have a beautiful dinner with my wife tonight. But I thought we'd just stay on here and just pray a little bit. And so we have prayer warriors here. So I'll just ask some of the prayer warriors who would like to pray a little bit right now. Would love to have you just lift up the country and what's going on here. And part of this is that the church. Isn't that sickening to just know that the big church, not most of the money and the Daystars and the TBNs have sold out, right? So I think that's the first thing I'd like to ask for prayer.
The churches too, guys. The churches, they say they're sending all this money everywhere else, and they're not. And so we've got to come into true fellowship with the Father on the Sabbath with Him, and just fellowship with each other, and keep our families tight. But the hardcover came out, and the hardcover can be autographed, and that's on the homepage of the website.
Okay, awesome.
So
that's awesome. You're still here. Awesome. So,
yeah, bless you guys. Well, I didn't. We didn't say goodbye.
Okay, so. Bye. Thank you so much. You're awesome.
Love you guys.
Bye.
Thank you. God bless.
Hey, with that, Gus, would you mind maybe starting us with a quick prayer? I know you're traveling tomorrow and you need to get out of here, so. Would you want to just lift up the Lord a little bit here, if you don't mind? I'm going to flip over to a different screen.
Sure. I'd love to. Sheila froze. Is she gone? She leave? Well, I just want to bless.
The markets are in turmoil. Global trade disputes, government debt, and economic shifts are creating unprecedented uncertainty. Yet, gold and silver remain the ultimate safe haven assets, thriving when chaos reigns. Kirk Elliott Precious Metals empowers you to safeguard your future. Call 720-605-3900 or visit kepm.com/B2T to discover how to reposition your portfolio into low-cost, fully liquid gold and silver bullion. Unlike firms pushing overpriced rare coins, KEPM educates you, avoids high commissions, and charges nothing when you liquidate. With governments and banks scrambling, now is your chance to invest in assets that have stood the test of time. Join thousands who trust KEPM to protect their retirement with integrity. Call 720-605-3900 or go to kepm.com/B2T today to seize this historic bull market opportunity.
As our audience knows, we don't promote anything unless it works. I fell off a ladder, fell down on my leg, opened it up, and there was great pain in it. So I used the patch, and immediately it went away. No pain.
Backed by scientific research and rigorous lab testing, even people who have suffered for decades are getting amazing results. We now have hundreds of testimonials for pain relief, allergy relief, anti-anxiety, brain boost, keto boost, and many other solutions, all with zero drugs and no side effects. Quantum is simply about two things. One, intentions. As a man thinketh, so he is. And two, renewing your mind with the Word of God. This unique yet potent multisensory approach is powerful, and it works. The patch provides the touch, and the included prayer guide uses your sight, speech, and hearing to utilize the senses God gave you. That's the quantum effect. Are you ready to experience the quantum effect?
Go to QEstrong.com and use code FAITH.
Hello everyone, Amanda Grace here. I'm here with you today because Rob from Exodus Strong is here, and QE Strong, and he's got some things to talk to us about, including red light therapy products. And so we're going to bring him in now, and we're going to talk all about it.
Hi, Amanda.
Hi, how are you?
I'm fantastic. Thank you. So excited to be here.
Thank you for coming on. So you have Exodus Strong.
Yeah, we're so excited about what the Lord has put on my heart, and the things that He's taught me the last year and a half has absolutely been phenomenal. So I'm excited just to share with you.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about what you do at Exodus Strong and the products that you have.
Sounds good. So to kind of start off, I think it's important to have people understand I literally died on the operating table. I've been close to death 5 different times. And I'm convinced that the Lord's kept me here for a reason, right? And maybe it's for whoever's watching this right now. Maybe that's why I'm here, right? So again, my name's Rob Renee. I am a cancer survivor. I've had a crazy last 1.5 years, but I'm doing super, super well. At 58, I'm literally healthier than I was at 44, which sounds crazy, but it literally is true. And, I believe that God doesn't build anything by accident, including you, right? And so the body that you're sitting in right now, I think is super important. So let me tell you how I got here. 5 times the doctors thought I was going to die. The last one was cancer. And I remember lying in the bed, grateful for all the doctors and the treatments they were doing. And still feeling, just like a problem being managed, instead of a person being restored. And somewhere in that bed, I just was like questioning things. I was like, how do I, instead of saying, how do I get back to where I was? I started asking, how did God design this body of ours? And because he didn't design anything just to barely survive, which I felt like I was doing. So I went looking at 2 places, right? The most important place, which is the scriptures. And then I also went and did deep dive on science. I kept landing back on the same thing. And it was waiting for me the whole entire time. And the answer was light, right? The very first thing that God spoke into the world, let there be light. And it turns out your cells are literally built to receive it. So that started my journey through this process and the creation of the light code, I call it. It's a 4-pillar system. And that is where we ended up creating Exodus Strong through that process.
So now you have through Exodus Strong red light therapy.
Yeah, so the first pillar is the light pillar, and it's literally specific wavelengths of red and near infrared light that your cells absorb, and then they turn that into energy, right? And so the frequency business, the QE Strong business, is the second pillar. It's frequencies. That supports the nervous system for the body at rest, and then the fuel pillar is the third pillar, and that's the Exodus supplement that we created. This supplement is amazing. It's got 7 biblical herbs and superfoods in it, and then a molecular hydrogen blend. But going back to that light pillar, that's what I'm so excited about, because so many people are getting benefits from that component. What we did is we added our frequency component to the red light. So we have this whole red light system that I'm excited to share with your community.
So when people start using red light therapy, so you have different products you offer for it. You have a mat, correct? You have a hat people can wear. So what is the variety of products you offer?
Yeah, it's really fun. We have this great big huge mat is what we call it, and it's just like it's 6 feet tall and 31 inches wide. And it's just an amazing mat. And the importance of that one is it does the entire body. So the problem today, most people go outside or don't get outside very often. They're under fluorescent lights most of the time. And our bodies are just getting attacked with all this unnatural light, and our food supply is bad. And so that mat is amazing because you can just lie down on it for 20 minutes a day, and it really re-energizes the entire body. So it's really super cool. And then we have like the face mask that's super important, right? You look like Freddy Krueger when you have it, but it's just so amazing that a lot of women actually love this one because it helps with the wrinkles and stuff, and the face really helps develop collagen in it. And then we have our wand. That's a super popular too. It's the really targeted therapy where it's really you have the wand, and it's just really powerful, and you can travel with it. So that's a really nice thing, right? You can do red light therapy on a particular component. And then we have a belt that you can put around you, and you can walk around, do the dishes and stuff like that. So we have a whole line.
How long is the red light therapy when people do it? How many minutes?
Yeah, it's the tip. That's a really important question because some people, they overdo it. Which is interesting. It's one of the therapies that you don't want to do too much. You can do it a couple of times a day, but you only want to do it for like 20 minutes at a time. If you lay on it for an hour, that actually does worse for you than if you do it 20 minutes at a time, because your body, God designed it that way. God designed it to receive light, and it's super important.
So you're saying 20 minutes? Sometimes I hear like you do it for a few minutes.
Yeah, you can. You can do it for 5. Like it's so fun. I literally just got off the call with one of our customers yesterday, and she used the wand, and it's a targeted wand, and it helped her within a couple of minutes. Just like the issue she had went away. So it can work really quickly. But what happens with the mat is it really is regenerating your cells, and it helps over time. So it can help immediate problems, but really to make a holistic change, it's better if you do it consistently. So if you do it for 20 minutes a day and you do it consistently, you're going to feel amazing.
Okay, so if they do it consistently every day for at least 5 minutes.
Yeah, I would recommend 5 to 20 minutes. Yeah,
5 to 20 minutes. It will start to make a difference in what areas?
Well, that's what's so fun. Literally, another woman just called us the other day, and she it was very hesitant to buy. And her husband said, "Hey, they've got a 60-day money-back guarantee. Why don't you just try it?" So she tried it, and she started doing it consistently every day for 20 minutes. And the first thing that she realized, what she was surprised about, was her sleep. She was actually able to sleep so much better because her body was repairing itself. And then what's really fun is she called back and said, "I want to buy another one for my mom." So she's so excited about it. She wanted to get one for her mom because it does amazing things to the body. And there's thousands of scientific studies about it. It's really NASA. It started with NASA is where red light therapy came about. So it's not a new therapy.
So when they use promo code ARC, what discount do they get off of your products?
Yeah, so we literally put together a specific bundle for your community, Amanda. We have the red light therapy mat, which is amazing. It's a $700 mat, and then we add the face mask, the radiant system we call it. It's a face mask, and it's a serum. We have this little serum. Where's my serum? That you put on before the treatments. This little serum you put on before, and then a radiance mist after. So you get in the frequency after, you get in the peptides is in the serum to help the body, and you get that face mask. That radiant system is $300 itself. So the whole package that we put together is a $1,400 package, but we're selling it to the Ark of Grace community for $597. So literally, if you go to exodusstrong.com/ARC, the discount's already applied there. You can't find it on our website. So go to exodusstrong.com/ARC, and then that offer is there. So for $597, you can get the $1,400 worth of red light. We include the Exodus Strong supplement, right? The supplement's amazing. It's got molecular hydrogen, so it helps the mitochondria from your bloodstream from inside. Yes. So how have you been finding red light, Amanda?
Well, we just started tinkering with it.
Yeah,
red light
good.
therapy. And so we've started using it. And so I'm going to continue to use it because we just started with it.
Awesome.
And I'm sure there's going to, I know it brings benefit. I know people who have used it. I know doctors who are actually a big proponent of red light therapy right now.
Yeah.
And utilizing it. Yeah. So this is something that I'm going to use on Chris as well. So we're going to start
that was the last thing I was going to forgot to mention.
Yes, the hat that you sent us, we're going to start that on Chris. And so as we continue, we'll be able to report on how we're feeling.
Awesome. I'm excited about this one because the hat, the red light therapy hat, is really an interesting one in respect that it's got 3 different frequencies on this hat. This is a special hat. We have a cap that you can use that is for a lot of people do it for this, right? To grow more of that. And that's really important. But this one, it's really a cognitive one because it's got 3 different wavelengths. It's got a near infrared, a red light, and then it's got a 1070 frequency. It really goes deep into the brain. And so then we include our clarity and focus frequency card as well. So you're getting our frequencies, but you're also getting those 3 frequencies that come with it. And it's really helping people with advanced, either brain fog or as you're aging, you start, forgetting things. It really is doing a lot for people that have issues and or want to prevent those things from happening. So this is our marquee product, is this hat. So it's really
wonderful,
exciting. I'm praying it's going to help Chris a lot.
Well, I hope so too. And so we do have it for him, and I've talked to him about using it. And so we're going to start putting it on his head for a few minutes a day. So if you would want to learn more, if you want to get involved with red light therapy and see all Exodus Strong has to offer, you could go to exodusstrong.com/ARC. Remember that, because you'll get a discount off of your order, and they're offering these bundles to our Ark of Grace viewers right now. Rob, thank you for joining us today.
Yeah, God bless you, Amanda. Really nice to see you again.
God bless you, Rob.
As our audience knows, we don't promote anything unless it works. I fell off a ladder, fell down on my leg, opened it up, and there was great pain in it. So I used the patch, and immediately it went away. No pain.
Backed by scientific research and rigorous lab testing, even people who have suffered for decades are getting amazing results. We now have hundreds of testimonials for pain relief, allergy relief, anti-anxiety, brain boost, keto boost, and many other solutions, all with 0 drugs and no side effects. Quantum is simply about 2 things. 1, intentions. As a man thinketh, so he is. And 2, renewing your mind with the Word of God. This unique yet potent multisensory approach is powerful, and it works. The patch provides the touch, and the included prayer guide uses your sight, speech, and hearing to utilize the senses God gave you. That's the quantum effect. Are you ready to experience the quantum effect?
Go to QEstrong.com and use code FAITH.
Deception floods our airwaves, but Faith and Freedom TV fights back with truth. Our bold content, news, shows, Bible teachings, worship, and films shines with biblical conviction and patriotic courage, free from globalist lies. We empower Christian patriot creators to share faith and liberty. Break free from deception 24/7. Explore our program guides for 3 24/7 channels broadcasting truth. Playing now at faithandfreedom.live.
And we will never surrender. Christian soul.